36 years ago, on this day, Agent Cooper made his way into the town of Twin Peaks.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks.
And I started my journey into Twin Peaks on Halloween last year. And I had always heard about the series. I've watched some of David Lynch's films before years ago. And I had always wanted to really dive into Twin Peaks, but something just made me feel like I wasn't ready for it. And you know, that's just how I feel with things. I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I really do think the age you watch something or the moment in your life you watch something really impacts a lot of how you feel about a certain material. Because I think art is subjective. There is no art or filmmaker as subjective as David Lynch, I feel. So I went into that journey, and I will tell you, it was incredible. I went through the whole series, I went through the film, and everything in between you can find from Twin Peaks. And I decided I wanted to talk about it on the channel, but I said, you know what? Let's wait until February 24th to start this whole series. So this is more of my overall thoughts. I'm just going off my head right now. I have no script. I never write scripts anyways, but I'm just going off the head of how I feel about Twin Peaks. Now, I will start a whole series of Twin Peaks. We're going to call it Twin Peaks month because starting today until March 24th, we're going to just talk about Twin Peaks at least once a week. And we're going to start off with season 1. That video will come out later in the week. This is just my overall first reactions as I watch Twin Peaks these last couple of months. So first and foremost, I think Twin Peaks is a show that is meant to be experienced.
A killy divey too, wouldn't you? Now if the words sound queer and funny to your ear, a little bit tumble and jivey, say mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy.
I don't think you have to really rationalize it or try to explain it, but I'm going to try and do so later on this month, so stay tuned for that. And I think it's one of those things that you don't see a lot in TV no more, something that is earnest.
I love you, Ed.
That is just really itself, and it's just trying to tell the story that it's trying to tell. A lot of times today, we see TV shows and films and all of these other things trip on themselves, trying to sort of explain themselves, almost be grounded of sorts. And I think that is such a lazy way to make something. I mean, if you want to tell a story, that's one thing, but I think film and anything in general is meant to be artistic. So I don't think you really need to really be explaining things. And of course, Twin Peaks is notorious for that. There are things that happen in this show and I saw throughout that I was just like, what? But I was like, okay, bye. I'm in. And I think that this show at its core really is one of the most touching things I've ever seen. There are so many moments throughout that are just filled with so much love and passion.
It's wrong, Audrey. We both know it.
But don't you like me?
I like you very much. You're beautiful, intelligent, desirable. You're everything that a man wants in his life. But what you need right now, more than anything else, is a friend.
Foundation of such a method is love. I love you, Sheriff Truman.
For what it is, and in a world in Twin Peaks, but our world as well, that may be seemingly filled with so much darkness and you cannot see through it sometimes, there's still a beacon of light at the end. And I think that's what Twin Peaks really showcased, because yes, Twin Peaks was this town that tried to mold itself and come off as the perfect town and all of this, and nothing ever happens in Twin Peaks, right? But in the underbelly of it all, there was this sort of putrid darkness that was brewing and eventually came to light with the death of the light of the town, which was Laura Palmer. And it gets a little bit more deeper into that with the seasons as they go, and I won't get into it in this channel. It's just me talking about why I really love this show. And David Lynch had already sort of teased with this idea of the seemingly perfect town. There's something deep inside of it that's corrupt, as he showcased it beautifully, I think, in Blue Velvet at the beginning of the film. And Twin Peaks sort of takes it a step further into that, as we have an outside outsider having to come in to unravel all of this to the town in itself. And a cynic at first, Agent Cooper, it seems, who's just there to do his job, he slowly comes to understand why people felt that way about Twin Peaks and didn't want to really believe that the town was sort of like in its own putrid. And I think slowly we saw Agent Cooper fall in love with the idea of what Twin Peaks means to all of these people and what it could really be, right? Once all of this was cleaned out. And I really love how that story progresses throughout. And of course, you do have these other characters, not just Agent Cooper, that show you that there is still some good in everybody, but there is a duality to us all as well. Just as there is in the Red Room, the Red Lounge, there is a duality to everybody. And we see that be explored a bit more. But like I said, we're not really trying to talk about themes and things here. I'm just giving you my thoughts and opinions on Twin Peaks and my experience with it over the last 4 months of really binging it. Like, I was watching multiple episodes a night. That's how much I was binging it. And I really did come to fall in love with this world that David Lynch created here alongside Mark Frost. And I am so saddened to hear, of course, like everybody else, a couple of weeks ago that David Lynch had passed away. And I just found it so crazy because at the time David Lynch had passed away, I had just finished Fire Walk With Me. I decided to watch Fire Walk With Me last, for whatever reason that was. I watched season 1, I watched season 2, season 3, and then I watched Fire Walk With Me about 2 weeks before David Lynch passed away, sadly. And I was just there thinking about Fire Walk With Me and everything he portrays in that, and it is just one of the darkest films I've watched, but one of those films that is still filled with so much, I would say, hope at the end, and a very bittersweet like type of story, as David Lynch always does, right? And I really am just like seeing the world of Twin Peaks in such a different way. And I wonder how I would have felt if I watched this when I was a bit younger. I watched Blue Velvet for first time when I was 17. And at that time, I was starting to ponder with the idea of starting the Twin Peaks series. It was a bit harder back then to try and binge anything, right? It's a lot easier now. And now I am at the age where I felt like I think I watched Twin Peaks at the right time because I truly got it on a different level, because I did rewatch Blue Velvet. I did rewatch Mulholland Drive like a decade after I initially watched them. And I can just tell and know that I have felt differently about those projects than when I first watched them when I was like a teenager and things like that. So I think that it truly was the right time to watch Twin Peaks, and I'm very saddened that David Lynch isn't around anymore. I do hope that in some way or some capacity his work that maybe he wanted to do sees the light of day, but I think he has given us already so many great projects, and Twin Peaks definitely, in my opinion, is the pinnacle of David Lynch and his creations. Of course, there's a lot back and forth between how much David Lynch had sort of creative output, input, whatever, into the series throughout the years. I still think that him and Mark Frost really developed something incredible, something that will be ethereal. And I definitely do think that this is one of those shows that is just one of the greatest shows of all time. It is always said that Twin Peaks is the definitive show for all the shows that are classics that we have today. A lot of the legacy that Twin Peaks has left behind is still felt, and it's so real. And, you know, this is Twin Peaks month, and I just wanted to get those words out before we start. Stay tuned for my season 1 thoughts and review coming out this Thursday. And yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy this series. We'll be doing about a video or 2 a week and just going through everything Twin Peaks from season 1, season 2, season 3, Fire Walk With Me, and the future of the show, and if we will ever see any future for it. But yeah, let me know what you think about Twin Peaks and the first time you ever watched it, any story like that. I'm interested in talking about it. As always, I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Every day, once a day, give yourself a present. Don't plan it, don't wait for it, just let it happen.